Mystic Michaela spiritual family. Welcome to Know Your Aura with Mystic Michaela today. Hang on, stay with me here. The Denver International Airport. Is it run by lizard people? Okay, I'm serious. Are there secret apocalyptic underground bunkers for billionaires? Something's going on. I'm going to talk about all the conspiracy theories about DIA, the Denver International Airport, because we were just there. But first, hey, Scotty.
Hey, guys. Well, I guess this came about because we just took a almost 2-week trip out west, and we flew into the Denver airport. This is our second time actually flying into Denver. Well, I mean, I don't know about the conspiracy theories yet.
Okay.
Let's talk about the experience we had at the Denver airport.
Yes.
Before we actually get into conspiracy theories.
Right.
Well, you fly into Denver, and the Denver airport is, I don't know how to put this, but it's insane.
Yeah.
It's chaotic. It's crazy.
It's big.
It's huge.
Yeah.
There is so much going on there. There are so many like shuttles and trains and everything you have to take before you get to your gate.
Yeah.
I think you have that thing on the Apple that gives you the amount of miles you walked, whatever the steps you take. And I believe from the time we got from the rental car, dropped off the rental car, this is on the way back, of course, to our gate, which was just at the total end of the wing of one of the turbos, whatever, we walked about 2 miles.
Yes.
It took 2 miles.
Yeah, it was like 5,000 steps.
Yeah. Is that 2 miles?
About
2 miles. Okay, so about 2 miles to get there.
It was insane. And we went 20 years ago.
We did.
To this. And I recall it being insane. Like we had to help somebody get to their... We didn't even know where we were going, and we helped somebody.
Yeah, I remember.
We just took a passenger with us.
Yeah, there was this elderly guy. He had no clue where he was going. And I said, hey, all right, come with me. I'll get you to the gate. And we took him to his gate. And then we hopped off another train and then got to our gate.
Yeah.
So, there's this whole system of trains.
It's insane.
The airport itself, I guess, even is way outside of the city.
Yeah.
It's not, I think they used to actually have an airport that was in the city.
Yeah.
I believe, and they shut that down. And then this airport is kind of to the right, the east of the city, way east of the city. So even getting there is kind of a little bit off the beaten path. And then the size of it, I don't know, you might have the numbers off. Huge this airport is.
It's 35,000 acres.
Yeah, it's insanely huge. But it's so weird because like you're going like just to find everything, you're going like up, down, like escalator to an elevator. It's crazy. It's crazy
It's twice as large as the next biggest U.S. airport.
Oh wow! Okay.
And didn't they say it's like number in the whole world? Like what is it, 3 or something?
Yeah, I think they said something. Yeah, when you're on the train, they tell you like
they have had like weird facts.
So anyway, my experience getting through the airport, I did not have. Now you had eerie feelings, strange feelings. Bree had strange feelings. I don't know if Abby did too. I was just in red mode because when I get into the airport, I go red. Follow me, people. Get your bag and follow me. That's what we do. So I'm just going from point A to the terminal, the gate. That's my whole goal.
Right.
It's like tunnel vision. I don't see anything. Except what's in front of me.
Thank God.
Yeah, I mean,
because I was so overstimulated.
You guys even said, when we first got there, this is on the way going, and I got us to like where Enterprise picks you up.
Yeah.
You guys were like, once you got onto the shuttle there, you're like, how did you do that? Like you guys asked me, how did we get here?
I don't even know how I blank out.
Yeah, I mean, I just kind of followed the path, I guess. I don't even know myself.
Literally, the airport is so weird. You just keep walking. And eventually, like, the TSA apparates.
Right.
Like, nobody can tell you where it is.
Right. And the entire place, by the way, is under construction right now.
Everything's under construction.
So we actually even had one easy path where if we could have just went up that one escalator,
right,
we would have been right there. It would have been okay. But no, that wasn't working. So we had to go take a whole side route.
And
yeah.
It's stress. And I'm already in authentic yellow when I travel. So I'm already like go mode, like really anxious. I validate everyone's experiences with this. Like I understand.
You basically told us we had to be there 8 hours ahead of our
flight.
Thank
God, though. Thank God you get there at least 2 hours before.
Yeah.
If you're flying.
I would agree with that. At least 2 hours, yeah. All right. So I'm red the whole time. I don't see anything. I didn't see anything of conspiracy theories. I didn't see anything out of the normal other than the airport layout and all that. And just my goal was just to get us to the gate. So from your perspective is going to be a little different. So we're going to take a little break. We're going to come back. You're going to talk about the conspiracy theories of the Denver airport.
As a mom of 3 cats, I know something that some of you may also know. There are people who avoided my house because it would make their allergies act up. Well, this podcast is sponsored by Packagin. Owning a cat doesn't mean endless itching and sneezing, yet almost 20% of people suffer from cat allergies, and 3 in 4 people aren't happy with their current allergy solutions. Packagin's cat allergen neutralizing spray targets the allergens around your home that trigger your cat allergies or your guests' cat allergies and breaks them down so you and your family and your guests can live and breathe in peace. Cats groom themselves a lot, but did you know that their saliva is the main source of the allergens that trigger your cat allergies or your friend's cat allergies? So grooming means your clean cat is now covered in allergens to shed around your home. So Packagin's cat allergen neutralizing spray uses their patent-pending whisker block protein to bind to and neutralize allergens in your home. No harsh chemicals, no side effects, just spray every few days to keep allergens at bay. That's why 97% of Packagin customers feel relief and breathe easier around their cats. That's a big deal. So my friend who is terribly allergic to cats just visited for the first time in a while, and she was so pleasantly surprised that her allergies did not cause her to leave early like they did every other time. Packagin's so great because, treating allergy flare-ups with, medication, it can be such a hassle. So Packagin's focus on targeting allergens instead is so smart, and it's safe for people and pets. Your pets aren't just pets, they're family. So get the relief you need with Packagin. Head to packagin.com/KYA for an extra 25% off your order and an exclusive gift for our listeners at checkout. That's PACAGEN.com/KYA for an extra 25% off your order and an exclusive gift. One last time, that's packagin.com/KYA for an extra 25% off and an exclusive gift auto-applied at checkout. Hey, Scotty.
Hey, guys.
All right, so let me back this up to 20 years ago. 20 years ago, we flew in and flew out of DIA, the Denver International Airport. When was that, like 2004 or something?
Yeah, around there.
So the airport would have been about 10 years old at the time.
Okay.
And I remember seeing certain murals, and I remember just being like, what the flip is this? Like, this is, but this, you got to remember, this is before social media. This is before access to like conspiracy theories. This is before anything. And I remember looking around and being like, what a weird art choice. And the place just felt odd. Like there's tunnels and it was huge and all that. But I had, back then, before we had all these places to congregate and share weird opinions about things, you just kept it to yourself and didn't even think about it. So I always thought it was a weird place. 20 years later, I thought nothing of it, but my daughter, my 16-year-old's on TikTok, and she's like, Mom, and she's usually not like this because she's red. Right. She's red purple. So she's not usually like this. She's like, there are a lot of weird things about the Denver airport. She's like, there are on TikTok, there's a lot of conspiracy theories. It's really weird there. And usually I'm like, with conspiracy theories, I always find them just generally entertaining and, a lot of misinformation. And usually I'm like, oh, phooey, but you're there, right? And you see things and you're like, what in the weird choices is this stuff?
Right.
And I was talking about this to one of the MMSF who lives there, Dr. Shelby, and she's like, you need to do an episode on this. And I'm like, I'm going to, and here we are. Okay. So these are 10 crazy things about DIA that might make you rethink the conspiracy theories that there's lizard people running the place. Okay, that it's secret underground bunkers for billionaires, that it's an apocalyptic seed house or something.
Well, yeah, and I guess as you guys were going through it, you saw some of these things with your own eyes. I didn't, again, like I said earlier, I was so laser focused. I had like tunnel vision. I didn't see any of it.
Yeah.
So I thought it was totally normal other than the chaos of the layout. But all right, let's go
start.
For it. Let's go for
I'm
it.
going to give them to you because you don't know any of this because I've been on this like deep dive rabbit hole, like tinfoil hat.
I know.
And you can't even deal with me.
Right.
But I chose this time at the podcast recording to be like, here you go, Scott. Here's what I've discovered. And then you can give your logical input.
Okay. Or maybe I'll believe some of them.
Maybe you will. So here's the first thing, and this is an actual fact.
Okay.
There was really nothing wrong with the original airport, but they decided to build this one. So I think in 1994, people were like, okay, I guess they're building an airport or whatever. Yeah. And this was the airport. And here's the first thing. It was $2 billion over budget. $2 billion over budget.
And this was what, 1993?
This is 1990. I think it took like 16 months to build it, but was it 16 months behind schedule? It took too long to build it, and it took $2 billion over budget to build it. So right there, this is kind of where people are like, where'd that money go?
Okay. I mean,
that's where things always start, right?
Yeah. That's usually where a conspiracy theory on this would start. But, look, a lot of projects go over budget. I mean, I don't know if $2 billion sounds like a high number.
Yeah.
But, projects go over budget all the time. It's
$2 billion.
I mean, if you're doing a project on your house, usually it doesn't get done in time. It takes more time than they thought, and it's always more money. So
it opened.
Just multiply.
Yeah, you're right. It opened on February 28th, 1995. Oh, construction had fallen 16 months behind schedule and $2 billion over budget. And the final cost of the Denver airport was $4.8 billion back then.
Okay.
All right. So just think about that.
Right,
so people were like, what? We didn't need one. And you're building it here, which is
right.
And by the way, it's like in the plains of Denver. It's very flat and windy.
Yes, all right. So far, that sounds normal.
I had to start with that one,
okay,
because I think that's where it kind of gets started.
Yeah,
because money,
All
right. Here's the second thing. I'm just gonna drop this.
All right.
I'm just gonna drop it on all your laps. The airport runways look like a swastika.
Okay.
Do you want to see a picture?
Sure.
Okay, here you go. I'm handing you, but there's nothing else on it. It's just an actual blueprint layout of the runways.
Yeah. I see what you're saying. A little bit. It's hard to tell from this photo. I would have to probably actually see like an aerial shot from like a drone.
Yeah, when people kind of draw on it,
like
to show you, it's easier to see the shape.
Yeah.
So here's the thing.
Okay.
If you can Google it right now on your phone, just Google like aerial view of the runways at DIA. And this is, by the way, not a typical formation for any airport runway. That's the first thing.
Okay.
This isn't like, this is, and when asked about it, an airport representative was asked, they were like, it's a pinwheel, like that. Okay. And their logic is because of the winds. And then the other airport, the prior one, had runways only going parallel. And so they're saying like this allows planes to take off in any weather, like that. But did you have to make it exactly like a swastika shaped?
That's true.
Thing? Could you have done them all on diagonals a little bit more than like perpendiculars?
That's
what
true.
I mean?
Now, to defend this, I will say, we were on Southwest and they give you the flight tracker and I watch it like the whole time.
Yeah.
And the flight did make weird changes going into the airport.
Yes.
So I don't know if that was because of, let's say it was a wind thing.
Yeah.
And maybe they do need these little extra
it's very windy
or whatever. There. But the flight pattern did make some weird changes.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But listen, I dove into this deep. Okay, guys. Like, this is just, I will dump all this information immediately after recording this podcast. That's just how I work with my purple short-term memory.
All right.
But for the time being, like, I am invested.
All right.
I looked up some Navy people's opinions about this, and they're like, there is no need for runways to be that exact shape. Like, you could do it in a different shape and have the same results.
All right.
I'm just saying.
All right.
Okay, here's the third thing. The airport dedication stone has a lot going on. So, and you can look this up too. First of all, there's imagery from the Freemasons on it.
Huh.
Okay, so the airport was dedicated on March 19th, 1994, and a capstone was placed inside the airport to memorialize it. The dedication stone displays the Masonic symbol of a compass with a G inside. So it's the Freemason symbol. So if you know anything about one of the DIA conspiracy theories is that it's the Illuminati headquarters.
Oh.
That's the other thing. And so this Freemason stone is kind of like, well, that's interesting. And Freemasons aren't like what else are there? The Shriners, or there's like a lot of different secret societies, and you can kind of see them anywhere you go. Like different towns have them, or Knights of Columbus, like that kind of thing. So anyway, so that's on there. And then underneath the symbol, it says New World Airport Commission as credited with helping fund and build the airport. So you ask, well, what's the New World Airport Commission?
Right.
And airport officials said that it was some sort of commission for the New World Airport, but the wording calls to mind the New World Order conspiracy, because there's no such thing as the New World Airport Commission. Like, that doesn't exist.
Okay.
It's like, that's not a real thing. So everyone's like, oh, the New World Order.
Right.
Back to, oh my gosh, the New World Order is taking over. This is, when there's the apocalypse happens, they're going to take over. Well, what is this alluding to?
Well, now I'm starting to wonder who got the contract to build this airport.
Yes.
What company? What's the company?
Yeah.
Who's building it? Maybe the people in charge were, I don't know, Freemasons.
Yeah, maybe.
Sure.
I looked into all that.
Yeah.
Because again, super invested.
Right.
There's like 4 or 5 companies that were all together building it.
Okay.
So it's kind of hard. And they're all like real companies. So it's kind of hard it kind of hits a dead end.
Okay.
It's just like a weird stone.
All right.
Also, what's actually kind of weird is the date of the date on the stone, the dedication date, which was March 19th, 1994. It does add up to 33, which is reportedly the highest level of Freemasonry. But it only adds up to 33 if you leave out March. 19 and then 1994 adds up to 33.
All right, that's a stretch.
See, that was a stretch.
I'm throwing that out.
Throwing that one out?
That one's getting thrown out. On to the next. Give me the next.
But those Freemasons, apparently they've been around since the Middle Ages.
Sure.
It's like that's not weird to you. It says New World Order. It says Freemasons.
They're building. They love to build. The Freemasons love to build.
As a historian, what do you know about these secret societies? Come on.
All right.
You refuse to participate.
Let's move on to the next one.
All right. Here's the 4th thing.
Okay.
All right. There are, as you know, tunnels for the trains.
Yeah, the trains to get you the gates.
Yeah, which, by the way, the week we were away, all shut down. It was like a huge thing on TikTok.
Okay.
Anyway, I just have to say this. So the 4th thing that everybody says is there's apocalypse bunkers, a whole city underneath the DIA, and there's tunnels. And some of these tunnels go to NORAD, which is the North American Aerospace Defense Command, which I guess isn't that far away.
Okay.
All right. But all this has been denied, obviously, by the airport. But a former airport construction worker claimed that the reason why the airport was so far behind schedule was because 5 multi-story buildings were built underneath the airport. So, and then other construction workers said the same thing. Like, they built these 5 multi-story buildings, but they didn't fit or something, so we'll just bury them instead of demolish them, which is like a weird choice.
Okay.
And then the same construction worker, as well as others, also supposedly said there was a complex network of tunnels beneath the airport. And other people have said this stuff. And then if you go even deeper down the rabbit hole, there's people that say they've been there for charity events. And then people, have disappeared who want to talk about it and things like that.
What do they think all these things are used for?
Well,
like bunkers for wealthy people?
Yeah, this is. And then, so also, DIA is an international airport, right? So let's say there was a mass, world-ending event or something. It's an easy place for the world's elite to all fly in at the same time and go immediately down to their bunker.
Okay. This one I believe could be true.
Really?
Yeah, because human nature. Okay, so this was built in 93, so it's the time period. The Cold War with Russia just kind of was ending. So that would go against the theory, right? Because it wasn't the heart of the Cold War, with nuclear war with possible Russia, Soviet Union. But I can definitely, and Denver is interesting because, it's in the middle of the country.
Yeah.
It'd be the furthest place. If let's say the Soviet Union at that time was going to nuke us.
Right.
You would think it's going to hit the coasts.
Right.
It's going to hit New York, Miami, whatever.
Yeah.
Los Angeles. It's not going to hit Denver because it's smack in the middle of the country.
Mm-hmm.
So if I was going to build underground bunkers for wealthy people, that's where I would do it.
Okay.
That would be the exact spot I would choose.
Okay.
And it's not far-fetched to believe that, multi-millionaires and billionaires
are going to be
looking for a spot.
Be jerks that way.
Yeah, they're going to be jerks. The bottom line is you become a billionaire like Jeff Bezos and you rent out Venice for your wedding, you're a jerk.
You're a jerk.
You're a jerk.
You don't care.
It's just too much money.
Yeah.
You have too much. And there's no way that these guys don't have these underground bunkers somewhere.
They do. That's like a big thing for billionaires to invest in.
Okay, so I don't think that's really conspiracy theory. I believe that.
All right, but at the airport, nobody's confirmed it.
Well, they made it so far out of the city.
Well, you wouldn't tell where your bunker was.
Right, you wouldn't tell the bunker.
That would be stupid.
That'd be dumb, yeah.
But why would you put it under an airport? That sounds...
anyway. Because you got to get into the airport. You got to get into the airport immediately.
Right.
Take those trains that we take. Right. But then you take it to your bunker.
You take it
and
to your
bunker. And then you have caviar waiting for you.
Your billionaire bunker.
Yes, wonderful meats and fruits and veggies
and
all
that's
waiting
what people think. They think... But then...
I agree with that.
There's other ones. There's other theories that it's some sort of political prisoner holding, or they do which also a lot of people say that there's barbed wire on all the fences, right? Mm-hmm. But all the barbed wire is pointing to keep people in, not out.
Right.
So that always, and then other people say that there's electromagnetic tests going on down there. So that other people say it's the place where lizard people are hanging out.
I think they might even have a Sasquatch down there. They could have a Bigfoot. They could have a Bigfoot family down there.
Right.
And I believe that.
Okay. So that's like that. I think that's the biggest one.
Okay.
Like what's with the tunnels?
Yeah.
What's with this multi-story reported buildings down there?
To be honestly, logically, with the over budgetness, right? You said it was a couple billion over budget. With all this, I would be shocked if there wasn't something going on down there.
Something happening down there. All right. So the fifth thing is the murals. And this is what I mentioned back in 2004. I noticed personally, without any knowledge of this is weird, I was like, that's weird, but this time they're all covered up. Right now, if you go, they're all covered up because there's construction and stuff. Here's the deal with the murals. And it's, I highly recommend you just look these up. And then remember, these are floor-to-ceiling, wall-to-wall murals for all to see, and they are not covering up the violence in them. So Leo Tanguma was the muralist who made all these, and they tell the story of an apocalyptic bio-warfare situation destroying the world as we know it, and then the New World Order comes in and takes its place. Oh. So there's imagery on there like dead animals, mothers holding dead children. I mean, I'm not kidding. Soldiers.
And you saw that this time or last time?
Last time I did, but you can look them up online.
Okay.
Soldiers in death masks stabbing doves.
Okay.
There's Quetzal in one of them, which symbolizes it's a symbol for extinction.
Okay. There's
symbols of people putting animals in glass, like trying to keep them from being extinct or whatnot. There's a quote from a child from Auschwitz randomly. There's weird crap on there. Explain the need to put that in an airport, please.
Crazy. No, I mean, when you go through an airport, you want, you go through, Fort Lauderdale Airport. You want to see, the sunshine.
That's
you want to see dolphins.
Yeah, that's all there is.
You want to see a manatee.
Fort Lauderdale Airport, very calm.
Yeah, you want to be calm.
Yeah.
You don't want to be seeing that.
No.
I guess a lot of them were behind the construction now. So that's why.
Right now you can't see them.
You can't see them.
Murals.
But yeah, that's creepy. I can't explain that because that's a real thing. It's up there. I only could assume that this artist guy is psychotic. And the people that built this place are now psychotic.
Okay, so you just think it's his weird choices.
Yeah, weird choices.
Like the artist himself said that it's about the destruction of war and the hope of peace or whatnot.
Nah.
But a lot of people are like, is this the foretelling of what's to come? Is this the map to the apocalypse? Is this hidden in plain sight what's going to happen to us all?
Well, when you get into talking about these Freemasons and the Illuminati and stuff, they all have these theories. That doesn't mean it's true.
Okay.
They that could be what they believe.
That comforted me.
But I don't know that these guys got it right.
You're saying just because a bunch of weirdos probably built this place and think it's true doesn't mean it is.
Right.
Okay.
That's my theory.
Because that's where I think these conspiracies they know something we don't.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So here's the sixth thing.
Okay.
Lucifer is, if you're leaving or coming into the airport, it is the biggest blue horse with red laser eyes sculpture.
Did you see it?
I did.
I did not. I just flying by.
Well, you were like in the zone. Lucifer is 32 feet tall and 9,000 pounds. Its eyes glow red at all hours of the day and night.
Okay.
A lot of people feel like this sculpture represents the fourth horseman of the apocalypse. All right. The fourth horseman specifically represents death.
Mm-hmm.
So here's the creepiest part, though. Okay. Are you ready for this?
Yep.
The artist, Luis Jimenez, was killed by this statue. Oh. He, first of all, was 13 years behind in completing it. It took him that much time to complete it. And as he was assembling it, a piece of it fell on him and fell on his leg and severed his femoral artery, and he died immediately.
Oh. Did someone else take up the task of finishing it?
Well, it was done. It just had to be like, you know how like they make things in sections?
Yeah.
It just had to be soldered together.
Soldered together.
Yeah,
oh, okay.
And it was also like $650,000 to make or something.
Wow.
It's crazy.
So maybe this place is haunted.
So everyone's like, why would you continue to put that up? It killed the artist. Like, it's so flippin' creepy and cursed and weird. And it's huge. And why does its eyes glow red? Like, you got to look at this. You guys, please Google this now. Okay. This is like insane.
Yeah,
it's not friendly.
We're gonna have to put up a thread if you've been through the Denver airport. Have you seen this? Have you seen the like, murals?
And this is not even one of my things. This is just a side note. Like, I read while I was doing all this so many accounts of people who work there saying they hear drums, they hear voices, they seen footsteps, they seen things that aren't there.
This could be haunted. This could be haunted.
And like the lesser known parts of the airport. And whatnot. Okay, here's the seventh thing.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yes.
The floor inscriptions. Okay. So basically there's different inscriptions on the floor here and there. Okay. And this is where the conspiracy theories get stupid, because some of it's written in Navajo and people are like, that's an Illuminati language. And it's like, no, it's just in Navajo. Sorry, I just have to laugh. But there is this one, and it's like a wagon, and it has AU and AG written on it.
Like the symbols for silver and gold?
Yes. Okay. And so a lot of people are like, oh, it's just silver and gold, kind of like a throwback to the area and the region and what it's known for.
Okay.
But one of the conspiracy theories says that AUAG refers to a virulent pathogen known as the Australian antigen. That they are telling us through these floor inscriptions they're going to release upon us all, or will be released, and that's how we all succumb.
All right.
But then, I don't know. I looked into that, and like, it's not even that bad of an antigen or something. I don't even know.
That seems a little stretch.
Okay. Here's number 8, though.
Okay.
This is crazy. You just got to remember, like, all these things are happening at once here. You know? Okay. In June of 2010, for a full year, they had a 22-foot sculpture of Anubis. Do you know what that is?
No.
The ancient Egyptian god of death.
Okay.
For whatever reason, this piece was just erected there. A 22-foot sculpture of the god of death at the airport. Okay. It was part of an advertising campaign for the Denver Art Museum, and it was their private funds, which is also weird. Like, somebody privately funded it to just stay there for a year.
Okay.
Why? Why are you putting the god of death?
Well,
just like where everyone can see it at the airport.
When you were getting a little kooky, and going through all these theories, you know, doing your research, I actually, at the gym, at the Y, I talked to a guy. He's a pilot.
Oh,
yes. I think you know him. He's well built.
Yeah.
I don't know do you know his colors by any chance?
He looks green.
Yeah, I thought he was green.
Green blue.
Green blue. Yeah. And I asked him, like, hey, you know, he flies all the time, flies all over the world, right? So I'm like, did you ever fly into the Denver airport?
Mm-hmm.
And he said, yeah, of course I did. You know, and he was the one that told me that it used to be in the middle of the city, and they moved it. And I said, you know, I just basically said, you know, is there anything weird about it when you fly in?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, he did say that it was very odd, it was very kooky. But he then said that it kind of like played, like I asked him, like, so what do you make of all these things? I think he told me about the horse and the gargoyle thing.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's on your list.
Oh yeah, that's
too.
my next one.
Okay. And I said, so what do you think about all that? Why did they do that? Is this on purpose? Are they not on purpose? I mean, he didn't know. He thought maybe it was just like a marketing thing.
Okay, that's my last thing.
Oh, is that your? Okay,
Yeah.
so that's what he thought.
All right, I'm going to come back to that.
All right, come back to that.
All right.
I jumped the gun on you there.
No, it's okay because that's interesting, and that does lead into my last one.
All right.
But I got to do the luggage gargoyles first.
Okay.
This is my 9th one. If you go in there, the baggage claim, they have luggage gargoyles. Like, they're gargoyles looking at the luggage, tracks or whatever they're called. They're weird.
Yeah.
So they've had them since the opening of the airport, but they installed a new one. The new one talks to you if you go up to it. And
that's weird.
And the new one says things like, "Welcome to the Illuminati headquarters." I mean, the Denver International Airport.
Did you saw these?
I didn't. We saw the luggage gargoyles. We didn't see the one that talked to you, though. That might have been at the other end.
Okay.
But they're excellent. Now, gargoyles aren't so weird. It's weird to see them there. Yeah. Because, and again, with all the other choices.
Weird for airport.
I mean, gargoyles are on all sorts of buildings.
Right.
They're a medieval kind of way to ward off evil spirits. Apparently, the architectural purpose of that, or the design purpose for the airport, was to ward off any bad luck with your luggage or whatever. But it's weird. And they have like little devil horns, and they're kind of blending into the whole New World Order or satanic or like that kind of thing.
Right.
Okay, but yes, the 10th one.
Okay, what's the 10th?
So they recently started leaning into this for marketing purposes. The new CEO.
Okay.
Now remember, this place has been open since 1995, right?
Right.
They only recently, maybe in the past like 4 or 5 years or something, maybe more, maybe 6 years, they started leaning into, there's lizard. Don't mind our construction. The lizard people are working on stuff. Like you can look it up. They have like advertisements around the airport, the new gargoyle.
So they've leaned into it.
They're leaning into it for the humor and the marketing. And the CEO said out loud, I'll be leaning into that. I think it's fun like that. Okay. But this was built before those types of campaigns. This was all, these murals were there. All the capstone was there. The way the runways were set, all that was there before.
Okay. So, all right. So we got all this. I think I have my...
What's your take?
My total theory, but I want to hear one more thing.
Okay.
So you've been there twice.
Yes.
I want to know, because this is Know Your Aura.
Okay.
So did you feel anything? Like, what's the aura? If you had to give it an aura, what would you think? What would you say?
I got to go with my first time there. Because my second time there, I'm a mom. And I'll start with my first time there. My first time there, the place felt, and this was before I was doing all this work, and I was early 20s, and I was just a kid, and I remember being there, and it felt like a different place in time. It definitely felt weird. Okay, so I have to go back then. It felt weird. Like, going back last week, to me, I felt like it was trying to distract us on purpose. It almost felt like an allegory.
Okay.
Like, in our own lives right now, we're so distracted constantly, and then we're walking right past the truth all the freaking time. And to me, it feels like the airport is a big metaphor, like a big joke. Like, you don't know where TSA is. Here's, have a coffee, have a bagel. Here, do so much going on. And then you're walking right by these murals, or you're walking right over these signs. You're walking right past this, like, in your face, end of the world, whether it's real or not, messaging.
Right.
To me, I feel like it's allegory.
Okay.
And they're trying to tell us something.
Okay.
Whether it's real or not, I don't know.
If you could, and I don't want to put you on the spot here, if you could put a color, an aura, to the airport, what would you give it?
Green-purple.
It's a green-purple airport?
Yeah.
Okay. Got that fast. All right.
Yeah.
All right. And would you say, and again, just be honest, is the overall vibe, other than all the chaos, is it like negative, positive, in the middle, neutral? Does it have that kind of thing?
Yeah, it does not feel friendly.
Right.
And it does not feel, it feels like rats in a maze. That's what it feels like to me.
Okay.
So I don't know. To me, it feels like a human experiment.
Okay. All right. My logic take is, yes, I think some insane people made this that probably had ties to the Freemasons or whatever secretive group that they were part of.
Yeah.
They put up these murals, see what they could, to maybe give these messages while people are, supposedly supposed to be calm and eating their bagel, like you said, and having their coffee. And then you see all that. I do believe that there are some sort of underground bunkers going on there. Okay. I don't even think that's a conspiracy theory. I think that
just makes sense to you.
It just makes sense that billionaires would go there
Mm-hmm.
in an apocalyptic time, let's say,
Okay.
nuclear fallout or something like that. It makes it's a perfect location for it.
Yeah.
Middle of the country, airport in, go to your tunnel,
Yeah.
go to your train, you're in your bunker,
Yeah.
you're eating your caviar. So that makes sense to me. I think there's, I don't know. Yeah, I think a lot of this.
It's sketchy, but
sketchy.
not as like creepy as we think it is.
Yeah, I don't know if it's lizard people running the show down there. Or
Right.
That I don't know about. I mean, maybe they got
Government
a Bigfoot.
prisoners.
They might have a Bigfoot down there.
Okay.
They might not. I don't
Okay.
know. But now I think what my friend at the gym said is correct. I think now it looks like they're trying to market it
Yeah.
to.
Well, the guy
to go
said
with
he
it.
was.
Yeah. Well, that's what he. Yeah. Oh, the guy said he was.
The
Okay.
CEO said he was doing that.
All right. All right. Well, we got to put up a thread.
Well, we have to hear what your experiences are there,
yeah.
please.
Yes, we do. All right. Let's take a quick break. And we're going to tell a story on this trip that we took.
Oh, my God.
The most scariest road I had ever been on. And talk about evil. We're going to get to it.
Know Your Aura with Mystic Michaela is sponsored by BetterHelp. Workplace stress is now one of the top causes of declining mental health, with 61% of the global workforce experiencing higher than normal levels of stress. I mean, to battle stress, most of us can't wave goodbye to work, but you can start with a focus on wellness, like sitting in the sun daily or walking during lunch or getting out when you can. Therapy is also a wonderful way you can manage workplace stress. I personally have benefited from therapy sessions I've had years ago. I still use lessons from in my daily life. And if you are thinking about therapy, you might want to give BetterHelp a try. With over 30,000 therapists, BetterHelp is one of the world's largest online therapy platforms, having served over 5 million people globally. As the largest online therapy provider in the world, BetterHelp can provide access to mental health professionals with a diverse variety of expertise. Unwind from work with BetterHelp. Our listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/KYA. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/KYA. Hey, Scotty.
Hey, guys.
Okay, so we were on a lovely road trip out west.
Yes.
And something happened. And I'm not joking, it felt like a horror movie, but we need to set this up. So, Scott, tell everybody where we were geographically and go.
All right. So, as we already said, we flew into the Denver airport. We had a lovely time. We went over to Yellowstone. This is backstory. Yellowstone, the Grand Tetons. We spent about a week there. It was incredible.
Great energy.
And we were leaving from Island Park, Idaho, going to Craig, Colorado to spend the next day in Rocky Mountain National Park. Okay. So everything's going fine. We're basically backtracking the route that we took to get to Yellowstone and the Tetons from the Denver airport. We go through Jackson Hole, nice town, right? Pinedale, Wyoming, beautiful town. If we have a listener from Pinedale, Wyoming, that is such a beautiful little town.
Their quote, like all over the little town, is, "It's all the civilization you need." And it's true.
And it's true. It
Pinedale's
really is.
great.
They got a grocery store. They got a couple restaurants. They got a gas station, a couple hotels, beautiful parks.
The Centennial Park.
Yeah, it's really all you need.
It's really small.
I mean,
but we loved it.
I might want to live in Pinedale, but if we actually have a listener from Pinedale, because I think the population was only a few thousand.
Yeah.
That would be incredible.
That'd be crazy.
Please write on the page. If you're from Pinedale or ever lived in Pinedale, please tell us.
Okay.
All right. So before we left, Siri gave us 3 routes.
Yes.
Okay. One route was through Salt Lake City. I don't know what they were thinking. All right. So I threw that route right out. Then there were 2 other routes that were basically the same amount of time and the same amount of mileage within 10 minutes of each other. But one route said high wind warning. Like there's a high wind warning issued. Okay. So I guess I wasn't really thinking. And I'm like, all right, I'll just take this other route.
Right.
Okay. Which was the middle route. Kind of like a more diagonal route than an L route.
Yes.
Okay. The L route would have taken you on the 80, which is a major highway.
Right.
And then made an L and then took you to also a decent sized highway.
Okay.
I think the 33. So anyway, we're on this drive and you don't want to stop for gas. And we get to the 80.
Yeah.
Where the 80 junction is. And we're on the 80. And then Siri says, 1.7 miles, get off Route 80.
Right. First mistake.
So I get off.
Yeah.
And it takes me off the highway.
Yeah.
I get gas.
Thank God.
Thank God. And then it takes me a few back roads, and I'm going through a little part of the little town there. It's the town of Rock Spring.
Yeah.
Rock Spring, Wyoming.
Right.
And then, it takes me on this side route, and all of a sudden, there's all these pronghorn are in the road.
Yeah.
We're in the beginning of this route. It's Route 232, I think it was.
Okay.
I think it was. It could be 242 or 232. I forget.
Wrote it down.
But, there's these pronghorn.
Yeah.
They're in the middle of the road. Everyone's like, oh, that's so cute.
What a cool ride.
There's prairie dogs all over the place.
The geographic formations.
Yeah.
It was, there's no grass or anything. It looked kind of like desert. It was very rock.
Yeah, it's high desert or something. Plateaus. I don't know.
No trees or anything.
Right.
Sparse vegetation, but a lot going on, with the prairie dogs and the pronghorn. It was beautiful.
So it started off, okay, this looks fine.
Yeah.
It said 45 miles for this road.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, fine. We could do this 45 miles. We'll just take this, and I'm sure it'll go back to something else.
We're like, oh, what an adventure.
Right.
Then we'll hit the highway.
Right. And the whole time we're like, oh, what if we were green? And what if we were geologists? This would be perfect.
Yeah.
And as we're doing these miles, there's nobody. And this part of the road, I have not seen a single soul.
Nobody
There's
was there.
not one car behind me. I don't drive that fast.
No homes.
People do pass me, by the way. People pass me a lot. And there's no homes. There's nothing.
Right.
I have not seen a car come our way, coming towards us, and I have not seen a car coming behind us.
Right.
For the entire 45 miles.
Yeah.
Okay. But then we're getting, I'm like, okay, we're close to the 45 miles, right? We're only another mile to go,
right.
2 miles. I'm like, okay, good. It was a beautiful ride, but we were out there. We were pretty
There's
out
no
there.
vegetation. It felt like where they find dinosaur bones. And then when I looked later, much later, after the trip, the Dinosaur National Monument or something's around there. So yeah, it's very dusty.
Right. And then, okay, so that's going on. And then we're getting down to a mile. Now, Siri gives you the next direction.
Yeah, that diagonal part.
Right. And it goes a mile. Now you're a half mile, quarter mile. Then it gives you 900 feet. And I'm not seeing anything.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm like, wait a second. Where are we turning to here?
Yeah.
And so finally we get to where you have to make the turn. 100 feet, make the turn. And my eye, I don't know, I can't even describe it. My mouth dropped.
Yeah.
Because it turned us into first it was a gate, just a gate. And then it was a gravel dirt road.
Yes. So let me just set this up.
Okay.
Because we were driving for an hour.
Yeah, it was 45 miles to that point.
But it was paved.
But it was paved from the gas station, right?
Apparently for the next 68 miles.
68 miles.
We're supposed to be, and when I say we're in a rental car.
Yes.
Okay, we don't know what the tires are on this car or anything. We're not familiar with our car, as we should be, possibly. Right. By the way, we're the only people in Wyoming that don't have a 4x4 pickup truck. So let me just say that.
Right.
If you're going to Wyoming, really, next time I'd rent that.
Yeah.
And the other thing is it's gravel. And I'm not talking about dirt. No, it is pothole, gravel. Looks like the road was made yesterday.
Yeah.
It looks like it's just made for ATVs at best.
Yeah.
And it was bleak the entire time, but when we turned onto this, it just got more bleak. There's no shoulder. There's no road signs.
Nothing.
So, I'm like, where are we? The cars, all the stones are hitting the car. Okay.
Yeah, there was. Yeah, there. So there was at the very beginning of this road, one 4x4 came by. He waved to us, and it was almost like foretelling. And so now I'm on this road. I'm probably about a mile.
Oh, all our service goes out. At this time, there's no cell phone service.
So I'm a mile, maybe 2 miles into this road. And look, we've been all across this country together.
Yeah.
We've been, just last year we went from, the sand hills of Nebraska. I didn't see a car for a long period of time.
Was it the Sioux Reservation?
Yeah, we went through reservations.
Alligator Alley.
Yeah, sure. Death Valley.
I've
been through places, and there have been times where I haven't seen a car for, 50 miles, whatever.
Right.
But I'm going to tell you, I started having a panic attack.
Yeah.
This was the first. I mean, I was nervous a little bit when we went from like Valentine, Nebraska last year to the back. We went in the back way, of course, because I do everything backwards. We went the back way of Badlands National Park. I was a little nervous, but nothing crazy.
No.
It was just like more like, okay. But about 2 miles into this road, I started having a panic attack.
Right. So let me paint that picture for everybody. So we're on the road, and Scott's, he's described this, but this was the reality. Megan! No! Megan! There's nothing here. This can't be right. This can't be right. And then I'm like, it's right. Because, like Siri we should have brought a map. That was really dumb.
Yeah.
Siri downloads, the map. There's no service, but, it's still on the phone. And I'm like, Scott, there's only one road. This is the road. And like, he's having me check all the, look, like nothing. And we were stuck in, and you were freaking out. And then the kids were freaking out because you were freaking out.
No, I know. And it was weird because, and I'm still going. And I guess in my head, I'm thinking, what are the options here? And this is where it'd be interesting to know what each aura color would say.
Yes.
And there's the option of, remember,
we don't know what's coming for us.
Right. Mr. Michaela just told you we were an hour on that other road, which wasn't a bad road, but there was nobody. So this means I got to go back the 45 miles, which took about an hour, to the Route 80, get back on the Route 80, and then make that L that I was talking about. Or you could continue on the paved road that we were on, which was the 432 or I forgot the number on that one. And then that would have, I think, taken to another dirt road to get to this place we're going called Craig, Colorado.
Right. It's just dirt roads.
Yeah. So in my head, I'm thinking, what do we do? We're never going to get to our destination any way you look at it.
I just didn't know in this country there still existed just places with just dirt roads, but that's true. There is.
It wouldn't even been bad if it was just a dirt road and there was things on it. There was nothing.
Right.
Like, this is a dirt road, loose gravel, whatever. No, like you said, no, nothing. Shoulders.
No signs.
No signs.
You just have to trust you're on the right road.
Nothing. Not a soul.
So here's the thing. My vote was turn around.
You told me to turn around.
I didn't care. And Scott's like, it's going to mess up the whole trip. Then we won't be able to go to Rocky Mountain National Park.
Right.
And I'm like, I don't care. I'm like, you're having a panic attack. We just did a dirt road around a boulder that's like crumbling on top of the car. No. But so this is just like a miracle happened in the middle of this.
Yes.
We're like maybe 5 or 6 miles into this road, which took a really long time.
Yeah. And at that point, I was like, okay, I got it together. I stopped doing my voice. And I got it together. I said, look, okay, I'm going to do it this way. We're going to get through this road. It's 68 miles. I assumed at that point it was 68 miles of this gravel. We were going about 15 miles per hour. At some points, it was a little bit better, but about 15 miles an hour. And I just said, okay, it's going to take hours. I'm just going to go as slow as possible. We're going to pray that the tires hold. And I'm just going to go ahead. That was my decision. That was my decision. But, okay.
If we had any sort of car trouble, we would have been screwed.
I don't know.
Because there was nobody, and I don't know what we would have done. Like, I didn't even know if there was a spare tire in the trunk. But what happened was, the miracle that happened
this was the miracle.
I got like 3G for like 2 seconds on my phone. And I looked, because there's a lot of names for this road, and one of them was Hiawatha Road.
Right.
And I looked up, there's like literally 4 names for this road. Yeah. And I looked up Hiawatha Road, Wyoming, and some unknown blogger from 2016 had written a little blog post about this exact road that they took, because their whole thing was to take roads nobody takes. And they said that it would be paved eventually in the town of Powder Puff, Colorado.
Was it Powder Puff or Powder? Something Powder.
Powder. I think it was Powder Puff.
Powder Puff. I can't remember. Okay, but
Powder something. Colorado. Right. So we had 50 miles or something. I forget what it was.
It gave us some hope.
It gave us hope.
Yeah. So it gave us hope, and so I'm like, fine, let's just do this.
Yeah.
And we're just counting down the miles.
Yes. So we did it.
All right. We just did 1 mile. We just did 2 miles. All right. We got, X amount of miles to go.
We're too far in to turn around.
Right. So now we're kind of like in the middle of this. And First of all, usually when I'm driving, I love to look at the scenery. I look for animals. It was like the Denver airport. I am focused, laser focused, just on the road. I don't see anything.
Don't get a flat. Right.
Drive, just
Slow.
drive. Right. Then you guys see the scariest. There is a sign that finally comes in the middle of this road. You tell them the sign.
Okay, so I don't know how to describe this, guys, because this literally felt like I was transported to a horror movie. And listen, this isn't just like I saw poverty, okay? Like I've seen poverty before. I've seen, homesteads. I've seen a lot of things on the road. This is different. We went under this homemade sign that to me looked like straight out of a horror movie.
Yeah.
And it said Shell Creek Ranch, no trespassing. And
the guns.
And there's guns all over it. And the sign goes over the road.
Yeah.
Scott starts freaking out. Oh, what? Oh, we got their property. Bree's in the back because she turns into Mini Scott. Are they going to shoot us? I'm like, there's no other road. Like, we didn't turn off. Like, literally, they put a sign over the state road.
No,
and called it Shell Creek Ranch. And I guess we're on their ranch now. Yes. It's like, holy crap. And this is when personally, I'm like, I need a gun. I'm not even somebody that wants a gun, knows how to use a gun, knows anything about guns. But in this moment, I'm like, why don't I have a gun? Because like we are vulnerable. It is completely beige, full of rocks. There's no water. There's no trees. It's just rock. Flat as far as you can see. There's nowhere to hide.
And I remember for a mile, I'm just like yelling, did we get off the road? Are we on their property?
Scott couldn't understand that they just put the sign over the actual state road.
Yeah.
I'm like, Scott, there's nowhere else we could go. Like, this is the road.
Right.
So now we're creeping, right? Yep. And then Scott's just like driving.
I didn't see anything.
And to the left on the driver's side, Bree and Abby's like I think poor Abby has trauma. She put on her headphones and was just listening to something. And Bree and I look over and can I tell you, I said, what in the hills have eyes? Doomsday prep cult am I freaking looking at? I don't know how else to explain it. There was, after miles and miles and miles of not seeing one establishment, there's a gazillion buildings kind of together. And there's like a rocky hill. And on this hill are like, I'm going to say about 60 different vehicles that are abandoned. There's a school bus, there's an RV, there's different just cars, like all sorts of makes and models, just like a little kid would put cars on a shelf. Somebody had placed all these cars on the tiers of like the ridge that's there. And I'm like, oh my God, this is where they collect the people that go through Shell Creek Ranch and then they take their car and display it like a flippin' trophy.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like to me. And there was nothing. There was nobody out. There's no livestock.
Nothing.
Okay. There's nothing. There's not even an animal. Because you'd think, okay, maybe it's a farm, that maybe there's sheep or like a dog. Nothing.
Yeah.
It's quiet. And I was terrified. Honestly, like I've never seen anything like that except in like The Hills Have Eyes. That's what it looked like to me.
Yeah.
And I was like, in my head, that's the scariest I've ever been anywhere.
Yeah.
Like I've been in a lot of weird situations. I've never been scared like that in a city. I've never been scared like that in the middle of the woods without bear spray. Yeah. I've never been scared like that like I was there. And I'm like, okay, holy crap. And Bree's like starting to like tremble. And I'm just like, just keep driving and do not get a freaking flat.
Yeah. Thank God I didn't see it because I would have been terrified. I was so focused.
I didn't even get a picture. I was so scared.
Yeah. And then finally you get to the other end of it where their, ranch ends and there's another sign, and
leaving Shell Creek Ranch.
Yeah. I mean, my only thing was they were probably sleeping. It was so my theory was they were sleeping.
Like I'm like, are there traps on the road?
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Honestly, because we didn't see anybody. It's literally like The Hills Have Eyes when they're like, oh, go down this road.
Yeah. So finally, we get past that, and we're counting down the miles. I don't know how many. Maybe we have another 5-10 to go, and then we're just praying that this blogger
Oh, yeah.
is right.
About Powder Puff, Colorado.
Whatever the town is called. Powder, Colorado. Right.
I think it's Powder Puff.
Powder Puff.
I made that up.
I think you made that up.
Right.
I think it's powder or something. And we're just praying that he is correct. And we're getting there. We're now we're a mile away, half mile away, quarter mile away. And then we kind of see it. Pavement.
Yeah.
And we're like, holy cow.
Yeah.
But we still have another 30 miles on that road. And I'm still looking behind me to see if anyone from the Shell Creek Ranch is going to be coming up behind us.
I was like, oh my God.
At some point.
Where's the net? Where are the tire spikes?
Yeah, something.
I was waiting.
Because again, we didn't see any cars. Nothing. The only thing is finally when we get to almost to the 33 where that would connect you down to the town of Craig, there was one guy with his RV coming through.
Yeah, and we were like, turn around.
We were like,
turn around, sir.
Please turn around.
I tried to look up when I had wireless, finally again, anything I could about Hiawatha Road. That's the only thing I could find on takemytrip.com. That's the only thing I could find.
Had a couple because the road goes between Colorado and Wyoming.
Yes.
Up and down.
You go through the borders.
Right. So one part you're in Wyoming, then you're in Colorado, then you're in Wyoming, then you're in Colorado, over and over again. To the credit, the Colorado side of the road was much better. You could actually go 35 miles an hour on that. And anytime I think it was called Moffett County.
Moffett County.
And anytime we got into Colorado,
But then Sweetwater County was the Wyoming side.
Right,
We were
no! So it was, out of all the roads I've ever been on,
it was scary.
It was the most terrifying.
And we made it. So our questions are what would you do in aura color?
Right. What would you do?
Obviously we just.
I guess my red just kicked in, and I'm just going to go for this. I'm not going backwards.
You deviated from your red. Because when we used to go on road trips before Siri, we would have the actual map. You would have me look at roads, and there's ways to tell if the road isn't good enough to drive. On a map, that's a bad road. We're not going down that road. And Siri doesn't tell you that stuff.
I guess why didn't I backtrack would be the question.
That's what I would have done.
Because I assume some aura colors would, or just people in general, would have just went back. Because I was only 2-3 miles in at the time, and I did not know if it was going to be 68 total miles of unpaved road like that until we found the blog, of course. But I would assume there's a certain person that's going to turn around the 2 miles, to go back the 45 miles the hour, and then pick up the 80.
I would have done that if I was
That's
alone.
what you said you would have done.
If I was alone.
Yeah.
Just knowing my limitations.
I assume a yellow would have never been in this position because they would have researched the road beforehand. So,
a green probably is prepped.
Green's probably prepped. He's going to take the road.
They're like, what? I blow a tire? I know how to fix that.
Yeah.
We could have fixed it too. It's just we don't handle crisis as well.
Yeah, I'm assuming there was one spare. If you blow 2 tires, I don't know.
Then you're really screwed.
Or if the Shell Creek Ranch people get you.
I know. I feel like a green has
I don't even
skills.
What would a pink do?
I don't know.
I don't know. we really do want to know.
I don't think a pink would take a road trip like that.
Okay, right. A pink would never been on the road.
What? No, we're going to Dolly World. Thanks.
A turquoise might be hey, this is a great spot to camp.
Turquoises might make friends with the Shell Creek.
Sure, they might have drove up to the Shell Creek.
Hi, guys.
Hey, guys, can we hang out? Or maybe they would use it as an opportunity to camp for a couple of days before finishing the road.
Just a little side note about our turquoise on a road trip.
Yeah.
We've decided, because we have a 10-year-old turquoise, and we decided that she'd totally join a cult for the food. Remember?
Yeah.
We're like, wait, turquoises would join cults if they have good food.
Yeah.
Because Ebony, the thing we passed, if there was food, she's like, well, I'll try it.
Yeah.
And we're like, Abby, no, we don't know them.
Oh, my gosh. I don't know.
It's funny.
But I'll tell you, if you're ever in Rock Spring, Colorado, Rock Spring, Wyoming, or Craig, Colorado, never, ever go on. I think it was also named Route 25, Route 4, Hiawatha Road.
Yeah.
Never. Go on that road.
If you've been on that road, which I doubt any of you have, I'd love to hear about it. And any other sort of spooky experiences you've had on roads. That's the kind of road where there's ghost hitchhikers, 100% or something. Yeah. Even you're yes, totally.
Totally. No, I like I said, we road tripped across this whole country, and I never was more scared than I was on that road.
It was crazy. We had to process with you all.
Yes.
All right. So this podcast is for you and about you, and we're so glad you spent some time with us today.